Right. So, been meaning to do this for a while, and I finally get a chance to do it. So, this is my car. And for anybody who's wondering, oh my god, where's Mazda? Yeah, I'll explain that in a second. But here it is. It is the 2015 Nissan Altima, the 3.5 SL. It's very nice, very nice. Very nice car indeed. So yeah, I got this car a couple months back now, probably like what, 3 months ago, and a very interesting story behind that, which I'll explain later. But got this car from Carmax, and I must say the process was very nice. So first thing, the reason why I got this car was because I actually was looking at sports cars. I wanted an all-wheel drive V8, and there weren't any. Well, certainly there are some, and even higher than a V8, but not that I could afford. And the ones that I would have been able to afford, they don't make them in all-wheel drive V8. Why all-wheel drive V8? That's just what I want, shit. So I was looking at sports cars, and I could not fit in anything. And I do mean anything. I almost fit in a Mustang, and I tried to force it, but my right leg was hitting the center console. It was not the current model Mustang. I think it might have been the previous generation one. Body styling. And that's the reason why I don't have a Mustang right now, actually. That's the only reason why I don't have a V8, 5.0 V8 Mustang right now, is because of my right leg with the center console. But short of that, and it would have been a convertible too. Man, that would have been nice. I had so much space in that thing. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, so I tried every sports car, and I couldn't fit in anything except, obviously, and by sports car, I mean at least 2 doors. So sorry, Charger. Sorry about that. So with that, I just couldn't fit in anything. Sorry. I had to turn this up because somebody's walking by. They probably don't want to be in this. Right. So why didn't I get the Challenger? Because I could fit in that. Well, I can fit in a Challenger if both situations are not met. Not met. And the first one is that it doesn't have a sunroof. This car has a sunroof. Interestingly enough, I'll get on that in a second. If it doesn't have a sunroof, the other thing is that it cannot be a manual. So it has to be automatic with no sunroof, right? Okay, so sunroof, all right, I'll explain that when I get in this car, but what about that manual? What's going on with that? Well, from what I've come to find out, if it's a manual, my feet end up looking like this in the car. You're not properly like this, it looks like this. So that wasn't gonna work. So that's that. I got this, and no, it did not come with this casing. You get 2 keys. Carmax always gives you 2 keys, and I got this thing for both of them because I like protecting stuff. This is always what I do, and this one is quite nice because it covers the whole thing. Plus, I still have access to the key because if you see here, the top part can still come off even though it's shelled. Last thing that I like about this, remote start, very nice. So yeah, that's that. The other reason is because the other reason why I got this is because I know this car can fit in. I can fit in because there you see my girl's car over there, which is a 2014 Altima S. I also know how to fix everything in this car because of that car. So it seemed like a very easy choice, honestly. All right, so obviously leather everywhere. Leather everywhere. I just finished detailing this car. I do weekly detailings, which is mad overkill, but whatever. Let's turn this off. What are we listening to? Well, let's turn that off. Yeah, so I do weekly detailing, and that's why this thing is looking very shiny despite whatever. I LED'd out the entire car, like all the lights that were not LEDs are LEDs. This car came with HIDs, which I managed to find some LEDs for. Normally you can't switch them, but or certainly can't switch them from LED to HID, because if the housing doesn't support it, well, you're about to melt it. But I did find, I'll have them all linked where I got them, but all LEDs. All LEDs. Even the HIDs, I switched that to LEDs. So every single light in this car that's not LED is now LED. All the way to the trunk, to the rear, everything. I also got the generic version of the store brand of the factory mats. This is exactly what the factory mat would look like over here and in the back. All right. That's what it would look like. The only and I got this for actually like 60 something bucks for the entire set, whereas the factory one, which is this exact same look, exact same OE holes and all that stuff, but it just says Nissan here. This one does not, but it looks the exact same. It's the exact same cutout, probably made by the exact same third-party person. So there's that. See, so you have a lot of space, as you can see here. You see my feet, brake, gas. In the Challenger with the manual, I would end up looking like this, and that's not going to work. Next thing, as far as the sunroof, if you see it from here, if you can see, hopefully I'm doing this right. You see I am sitting up straight, and look how much space I have, right? Hopefully I'm doing this right. With a Challenger, this part right here comes down so much that I have to tilt like this to be able to sit up straight. If I tilt like this, I end up hitting it. So that is the reason why the Challenger was not going to work if it has a sunroof. So there's that. Turn this on a little bit. There we go. Standard issue stuff. I like all of this. Like the Bose system. This car actually drives very well. It drives very well. Despite being a V6, it actually gets great gas mileage. Audio off. Normally that's at 28. Usually 28 even, 28.1, 0.2. But I have been driving in the sport mode, the DS sport mode, the drive sport. So yeah, I've been a little bit spirited. However, I do still drive this car properly. It is not an SRT. It is not a V8 manual. It is not, it's not freaking stage 3, 4, 5 twin charge. I know that it's a CVT, so there's that. But yes, it's a very nice car. Very, very nice car. And I plan on just keeping this car. Like, I don't have anybody to impress. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I plan on keeping this car until it drops. My girl's car, we got it at like 40 something thousand miles. It's at like 120 something now. No problems, especially due to my clockwork maintenance. What do you do? I'll explain that later. Yeah, but I just plan on keeping this car because I'm not real big on getting new cars, or new to me at the very least cars. I just like driving stuff until it leaves me stranded on the side of the street, which no car I've ever had has done. Okay, but then what happened to your Mazda? Okay, well, a bit of explanation for that is coming up. So yeah, this is the car. Very nice. Very nice. No problems with the CVT. I know people have their complaints about it. I have not had any problems with it. So there's that. All right. Yeah, so as far as the maintenance, I'll just do the whole maintenance thing right now. this is the maintenance schedule that I've done for all my cars, and I've never had a problem with them because of the maintenance schedule. Other things resulted in those cars not being here anymore. I've had a 2001 Kia Optima SEV6. I have had the 2012 Mazda 6i, and now the 2015 Altima 3.5 SL. And then of course there's my girl's 2014 Altima S. Technically, although for no intents and purposes, I have actually owned a BMW SUV. I think it was a X1 or X3, I think it was. But that was a special purchase in which somebody purchased it and put it in my name just to get it. People who sold cars, people who know about selling cars, you all know what I'm talking about. Something that's looked down upon in the car sales world, but does happen. So there's that. So technically I do have that in my name, and it was registered to me, got the title and all that crap. But so as far as legally, I did own it, but I didn't have a BMW. Anyway, point is, maintenance schedule. How did I come up with this? I don't know. It just seemed to make sense to me, and it worked. So oil changes. 6 months, 10,000 miles. Oh, actually, what also kind of proved to me that this system worked is because, if anybody knows anything about me or my channel, has seen the videos, I have done, I don't do it anymore, I have done Uber for over 3.5 years in DC. So that's DC City, the city DC, so that's city driving, to say the least. And then whenever I used to Swift it out to from DC to BWI or DC to Dulles or some crap, or DC to wherever the hell, you know, there's that as far as highway driving. Point is, I know it works. So oil changes, 6 months, 10,000 miles. Obviously doing Uber 10,000 miles came first. Not doing Uber, just regular around town driving. And commuting, the 6 months comes first. This is done with full synthetic oil. I think full synthetic only, 0W20 only comes in full synthetic. But yeah, full synthetic oil. Which oil do you use? I'm not getting into that. I am not, because they have not given me a check. And yeah. So quality oil, right? What filter do I use? I use the Purolator Boss filter. They have not given me a check, but whatever. Okay. So quality oil and filter. I don't believe in changing just the oil filter halfway through. To me, that is no different than soaping up, taking a shower, and not rinsing off. So I do full changes. That's it. Mechanical clockwork. So that's that. Transmission, doesn't matter what kind of transmission it is. 2 years or 20,000 miles, whichever one comes first. Now, obviously, again, Uber, the 20,000 came first. Non-Uber, 2 years is going to come first. But 2 years, 20,000 miles. Again, religiously. And this is why I have no problem with flushes, full-on flushes, not drain and fills, full flushes, because again, soaping up, not rinsing off, drain and fill, there's still some old, crusty, rusty, dusty oil in the torque converter and wherever the hell. Flushing it gets it all out. So yeah, obviously, if you went 100,000 miles without without flushing your transmission fluid, you're probably not going to want to do it then. Although I did it with the the Optima, and it worked quite fine. But, yeah, probably don't want to do that. But again, mechanical clockwork, maintenance, so there's that. Let's see, so that's 1, 2, there's 5 fluids. 1, 2, brake fluid, that gets done whenever the non-dominant brakes or the non-heavy lifting brakes get changed. So all my cars so far have been front wheel drive cars, so whenever I needed to change The rear brakes is just when the brake fluid got flushed, right? If you have a rear-wheel drive car, obviously it's when the front wheels get brakes need changing. All-wheel drive, well, shit, just by ear, play it by ear, shit. So that's 3. Power steering, for anybody that has that, that is also done whenever the brakes get done, right? Considering some of these YouTube channels of mechanics that I've seen, and just people repair videos of people that haven't changed it in like 100,000 miles. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. So that's 4. And the last one is the coolant. The coolant is just done whenever. There's no real set schedule to that. It's done whenever. But if you had to give it, I mean, because coolant's supposed to last like 10,000 miles, right? Not 10,000. 100,000 miles, right? 5 years, 100,000 miles. So I guess that's it. 5 years, 100,000 miles. But really, it's just by year. So there's that. So that's all 5. Yeah, I've done this with all my cars, and none of them have left me stranded. Not even the Optima. Now, the interesting thing with the Optima is that the reason why I got the Mazda and had to give that one up is because my girl. I had that car when I met my girl, and she was like, yeah, fuck this. There was something going on with the transmission. Something with the electricals, or not even the transmission. The transmission actually turned out to be fine. I took it in to get diagnosed by a mechanic, by a mechanic. He said the transmission was going on. Now, at that time, I was working at the Dark Cars dealership, Dark Cars Toyota in Rockville, Maryland. Rockville, Maryland. The day before I left, I took it to the Dark Cars Kia and had them just replace the transmission. It was quite affordable considering employee discount and all that. I think it was like $1,200 parts plus labor, right? And they shipped the transmission out to Korea, to the factory, bought it back and all that stuff, and it was working great for a little bit. Same problem happened. I replaced the input and output sensor myself, but no matter what, something in the electrical, don't know what it was, maybe it was a faulty computer module or something, don't know what it was, and my girl was just like, screw this, screw putting money into this thing, because I was on this whole no car payment business, right? And so, because I just came from a dealership, and actually the Mazda that I got from the dealership that I used to work at. We just went down there, my former manager hooked me up, and I got the Mazda. Okay. So then what happened to the Mazda now? Because I just had that a little while ago. Okay, well, I'll come back to this, because I got to cut to something else to show you. But got the Mazda, and then what happened, and now I'm with the Altima. So, and you all know how I got the Altima as opposed to a Challenger. So there's that. Now, what happened to the Mazda? Here you go. Okay, well, damn, I lucked out. I was expecting all this whole side to be scraped up. Nothing happened. And this looks like it can be fixed. Yes. Yes. Ah, man, let me go get my mirror. Hold on. See? Even the mirror didn't get scratched up. This scratch was here from a long time ago. But nothing. No crack, no nothing. Nothing at all. That's insane. That is insane. And you know what? The thing that I'm going to be actually pissed about the most, right, is that what's going to need fixing on this thing is more than likely something that I could fix myself. But because I'm not at home and can't just park the car until I order the parts and fix it myself, who knows how much I might end up having to pay to have it fixed wherever, assuming the insurance doesn't cover it all. And since I didn't exactly get like full insurance, it probably won't. That's what's pissing me off the most. But anyway, oh, and I saw your note, your message about how I could have died and I seem happy. Oh my God, the I've been in an SUV full of stuff going at 70 miles an hour, and I flipped over, like rolled over, went up into the air about at least 20 feet, came crashing down, and all I have to show for it is the scar on my left elbow. Like, this isn't shit to me, quite honestly, because like every part of that SUV except for the driver's quarter collapsed in, like caved in, right? And I was, and I had like the bottom of chairs, like chair wheels and stuff. I had like the bottom of chair wheels and stuff like about inches from my head because everything was packed up into that thing. So for me to survive that without with just that scar and nothing else, this isn't anything to me. Right? I'm sorry, but after I survive death like that, I'm really not scared of death at all anymore. But yeah, this is crazy. Oh wait, no, there we go. Ah, so it did get scratched up a little bit. All right, now it's starting to make some sense from a physics standpoint. Anyway, yeah. I'm good. I just want to get this thing towed to the shop, and hopefully, since those guys see how fast I work whenever they have a ticket to put in, whenever I get it, I'm down there same day helping them out and hooking them up. Hopefully they hook me up with this thing, because right now this steering thing seems like it's going to be an easy enough fix. Anyway, later. I need a drink, in that last part. Start with that accident, okay? The first accident that made me no longer scared of death or dying, okay? So, when was this? 2007, 2008, 7, 8, something like that. I think it was 2007. Me and my sister, we were in two separate cars. She was in her car with her then daughter and, well, her daughter and her stuff in a little trailer. It was like a 1990s Jeep Cherokee, right? And I was in a Ford Explorer 95 or some crap like that. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that's another car that I've owned. Okay. Yeah, so it's about 2007 or so. We were both heading down to Florida because I was going to go live with my dad, and she was going to go off to Tallahassee to go live in her apartment, right? We got into an argument at a stop where we were stopping for the night, and I drove off. Okay. I drove off, and I was there by myself listening to my music. I had the cruise control on at 70 miles an hour, which was the speed limit there. And the next thing that I knew, I guess I might have drifted off asleep or something like that whole highway hypnosis crap. I didn't think much of that whole thing because she had, like, twice in a row went from Florida up I-95 to Maryland in 10 hours. So you can tell how fast she was going. But the point is that she did it by herself. She was alone. No stop, no nothing. Well, maybe to use the bathroom. Point. Okay, but moving on. I thought I could do that, but the thing is, she has experience doing that. I did not. So, long story short, I must have fell asleep or something. And then when I woke up, I find myself off the road, still going because I had the cruise control on, and I was listening to, what was it? What the hell was I listening to? Which probably also helped to put my ass asleep. Electric Gypsy by Govinda, I believe it was. I'll have it in the more info panel, the music I was listening to. Electric Gypsy by Govinda, I believe it was. That was it. Yeah. And when I woke up, the SUV's off the road, and I'm there trying to get it back on the road, and every time I try to get it back on the road, it started tilting over. So I'm like, okay. And I just got tired. It didn't occur to me to hit the brakes, get the cruise control off, and bring the car to a slow stop. Okay. So I just like, you know what, screw it. Let me get back on the road. And that's when the problem started. The SUV then immediately flipped over, kept rolling, went up in the air, spinning, came down, spinning, rolled, kept spinning again. And here I am. Now, interesting thing about that. Very, very interesting thing about that. Oh, here's the scar. Here's the scar. This is all that's left of it now. But when it happened, this whole part had been dug out. And all of this right here, if you can see, I don't know if you can see up here, but this whole part had raised up. Like this whole piece of skin had tore up and was hanging right here. So all of this, of course I didn't feel any of this, but all of this was like that. And I was about to just rip the whole skin off and just let it, but I didn't. Thank God I didn't. And so that's all that's left of that. Now, I was in an SUV full of stuff. That was my entire life in that SUV. And so much so that the wheels of the chair, kind of like a chair that I have here, a chair here, and a chair behind me, was like literally right next to my face like this. It probably wasn't the most legal thing to do because I couldn't see out the back and I could barely see the side mirror, but okay. So that's what happened with that. Now, the interesting thing with that whole accident, that happened in Jasper County, Georgia, Jasper County, South Carolina, like 11 miles from the Georgia border, I believe it is, something like that, right? And from what happened with that SUV, everybody, including the like the paramedics and stuff on the scene, they're like, dude, how the hell are you alive from this? Like, I mean, at the risk of saying, oh my God, it's a miracle and all that stuff, like they let me know in no uncertain terms, you are dead. You should be dead. This makes no logical, scientific sense. Nobody could survive something like this. Because when I went and looked at the car from the junkyard and tried to salvage whatever I had, the entire car had flattened to essentially a coin, except for the one area, the driver's compartment that I was in. So, you know, you split a car in four. My one area that I was in was the only area that was not essentially about this thin. Everything else had crushed to nothing. And the only reason why I even had stuff to salvage was because it had, from the rolling 10 times, or so, at least 10 times, from what the witnesses said, everything had strewn out of the car, right? Now, the interesting thing with that accident, a couple of things. One, that night, my sister's daughter was a baby toddler at the time, and I mean, follow me on this, because especially the atheists, follow me on this because, you know, I mean, hell, according to all the experts, I'm not alive. So, follow me on this, right? My sister told me that her daughter, it was at night, and her daughter was just in a corner, staring up at the corner of the room, shaking her fist. And she couldn't, and she's there looking, what the hell is she doing? Like, she's there looking at her, can't figure out what the hell it was. She's just there shaking her fist in the corner. The kid's not mentally challenged. The kid has no developmental problems. She's actually, I think she's 16 now or something. Soon to be 18 or some crap. Nothing was wrong with her. But she's just in that corner, this little baby, just shaking her head. She couldn't figure it out. I go and tell my sister what happened the moment that the car started rolling and the glass, the windshield glass blew out And what happened, two things. Number one, everything slowed down to nothing. Think of the Matrix. Just everything just slowed down to nothing. I was wide awake. My eyes got all the glass on literally my eyeball. I could literally like feel it. Once the adrenaline wore off, I could finally feel it. But my eyes were wide awake the entire time the whole thing happened. And what I noticed with that is that even though it was daylight when this happened, right? It's like a curtain of light. Like if you're in the woods and you see like light shining through, and it looks like a beam, like almost like a curtain getting pulled, but just of light. I saw that just come straight over me like this. And I told her what I saw, and I'm like, it didn't make any sense, but again, I was wide awake, fully awake, and I'd gotten some sleep, to say the least. So I was wide awake, and I saw this happen. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Everything is slowed down to nothing. It's almost like I was the Flash or something, and the entire world was going at the speed it was going, and I was just going infinitely faster. Everything's slowed down, and I see this curtain just come over like this. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I wasn't looking around. I was like dead straight, but I told this to her, and she's like, oh, so that explains it. I know what that was. And of course, you know, she's just giving her belief on the thing, but she's like, oh, that was your guardian angel racing to come save your ass. And that would explain why my daughter had her fist shaking at the thing. She must have seen that thing go by and come rush to save you. Okay. It's the only thing that made sense to me, again, considering all the medical experts, all of the experts in stuff that's seen this kind of thing, says that I was dead. But yet here I am. So, you know. I'm like, all right, well, I'll take that exam. I'll take that. For anybody who might not believe, or who might have a problem believing that, well, truth be told, it might actually not be all that far-fetched. Why? I believe it's the book of Daniel or something. There's a prayer in that book that experts in, I guess, speech patterns or the speed of people's speech have analyzed. And again, stay with me. I'll get back to the rest of the video, but just stay with me on this. Book of Daniel, there was a prayer in there, and apparently the people that would say that prayer during the time way back when would say it would take them about 3 minutes. And that is what the experts of today have realized, that's the speed, going at the speed and tone and tempo and all that stuff that they back then, those people in that time back then would have said it. It took about 3 minutes for that prayer to have. You can go look this up if you want. I mean, I've seen the documentary, I've seen the videos, I've seen the various people comment on this. Feel free to go look it up. It took about 3 minutes to say that prayer. The prayer is in the book of Daniel in the Bible, okay? Apparently, when Daniel started saying that prayer, the moment he started, an angel apparently shot off from heaven. When he finished that prayer, the angel was standing behind him. So it took that angel from wherever heaven is 3 minutes to get from heaven to him. Now, of course, looking as far as humans have been able to see with whatever telescopes in the sky to whatever distant galaxies and stuff, takes more than 3 minutes. But it took that angel 3 minutes to go from heaven to standing behind Daniel. And here it is now. My sister's daughter apparently sees that angel rushing to come save me. Okay. The other thing that happened that day, that morning, was that there was a lot of fog. And apparently, that fog was actually smoke. And that smoke was from some fire that had burned, that was burning. Okay. That actually, I noticed that after I had been cleared by the paramedics, so it wasn't going on while I was going through the accident. And then the last thing that happened, because they say that somebody dies every single day on that stretch that I was on. That stretch that where I crashed, somebody dies there each and every single day without fail. Okay. The last thing that happened was a school bus full of kids were on a bridge and the bridge collapsed. The exact same time I was going through what I was going through there. So feel free to go look up that story and you'll know I'm not lying. That story, bridge collapsed somewhere else off in South Carolina or Georgia, whatever it is. So yeah, that's how that happened. That's how I got this, and this is how I am not scared of death, because after that, and all I did was just tuck. I mean, like, the reason why this happened was because my arm was still on like the little armrest door, armrest-ish thing. You know, where you put your left hand, the little rest. Yeah, it was still on that. I felt the thing hit, but I didn't realize how badly it hit, and it dug all of this out and raised this up. But apart from that, I immediately just instinctively knew, okay, let me just crouch down as much as I can. I'm about to get hit. The airbag didn't deploy, and the back axle completely ripped off. Okay. I just immediately knew to crouch down. Okay. And that was all I could do in an SUV full of crap. So, according to them, I'm dead. As you can see, I'm very much alive. I'm not about to compare myself to Jesus here with the whole resurrection business, but, nah, okay. And that is why I do not fear death. Don't fear dying, don't fear any of that stuff, because I've yet to see anything to be scared of after that. So, yeah, that's the reason why I told her, dude, after what happened to me before, yeah. So, what happened here with this Mazda? Okay. What happened with that Mazda was that February 18th, 2021, as you can see, there was snow and ice on the ground. Okay. One of the only two people that actually made it to, well, no, one of three people. My boss didn't make it, my manager didn't make it, and one other guy who lives in Frederick here also did not make it. They called out, okay. Me, I was told, hey, if we're open, if the dealership is open, we're expected to be there, the IT department. So I, being the good, you know, worker that I am, I decided to go in, even though I couldn't see the ground, the pavement. It was all white, but I decided to go in anyway, and it was going great, from Frederick all the way down to Montgomery County. Okay. I'm supposed to get off at exit 12. As I tried to do that, the car starts slowly sliding. The back of it starts slowly sliding in front of me. I'm like, uh-oh. So I try to get back, and it comes back, but then it goes the other way, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then I try to go again, and that's when it spun once, a full 360, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. I know to turn, get your foot off the gas, try to correct, go in the opposite direction of where the car is going. So this car starts sliding sideways. It's a front wheel drive car, but I essentially start drifting sideways going. So I'm going straight south on 270, but I'm going sideways straight. Because I'm sitting there turned all the way to the left, but the car is there trying to go to the right. The back is kicked out. So it goes from going straight down to going like this to going like this. Right? And then I noticed it started going off. It goes from going straight, it then starts to spin again. It does like 2 360s and then like a 180. Goes off and then slams into the divider of 270 north and south. And that's where you saw in that video where I'm like, hey, nothing really happened. Okay. So that's how that thing died. Now, what actually did go wrong with that car? It looks fine minus the mirror, which looked like it could have gotten popped in. It actually was missing some tabs that I could have probably gotten from Advanced Auto Parts or something, right? But A bunch of suspension parts needed changing, even though I had just done I done myself, right? The entire suspension of the car. The car was at 190 something thousand miles, was running absolutely perfectly, no check engine lights, no codes, no nothing, right? And I was going to do a full suspension upgrade to get back, you know, factory, fresh from the factory, 0 miles, quality suspension and ride handling, right? So I go and replace every single thing because looking on YouTube, I saw how easy it was to do. I have the power tools, the hand tools. Y'all have seen the video. And I went and did it all myself. Lower control arms, upper control arms, sway bar end links, inner and outer tie rods, and like everything front and rear, right? Replaced it all. They go and look over my car once it got towed to my workplace. They went and looked it over. Bunch of these suspension parts now got bent or whatever. Needs replacing. I'm like, I just put this crap in a couple months ago. Fuck me. So I'm like, all right, go ahead and fix it because I can't tow it back up to, by the time I go and tow it, just, all right, fine, go and fix it. I just put this crap in. I just did the wheels too. God damn it. And then they come back and tell me, oh, and the rack and pinion is better. And that was where I was like, okay, yeah, no. I'm not about to backyard that. Sorry, Chris Fix. Sorry, Ratchet and Wrenches, Eric the Car Guy, Scotty Kilmer, nah. No, I'm not about to backyard that crap. So, yeah, rack and pinion is done. And Geico was like, look, yeah, okay, you can fix it, but we're going to have a salvage title waiting for you, and we will get that money back if you try to insure this salvage stuff. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Y'all can have the car. Okay. So the car got written off. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to save up for a car. I'm not going to get into a car payment. I'm not doing any of that crap. But then my girl one day, because she was driving weird, and I was just like, why do you have to be so close to the person that you have to slam brakes like this? Why can't you be further back? And then she's like, I'm like, you need to get a car. And I just looked at her like, huh, okay, all right. I need to get a car. Instead of you just simply stay back behind somebody, so whatever the hell they do in front of you, you at least have time to slam brakes or gently go on the brakes rather than having to slam the brakes. I need to get a car. Okay. And I just stayed quiet because we were sharing a car at that time. All right. I was trying to save up to get a car. Again, I am very anti-car payment. But she went and said that, and I'm just like, you know what, screw it. So that very same day, while I was at work on hour break, I went looking for a car. And ultimately I landed on Carmax, the review of this entire video. And I will get on Carmax in a second. I mean, not in a bad way, right? So that's how I ended up ultimately going to Carmax, because I'm like, look, this day is not going to end before I get a car, because I'm tired of her shit. So I'm like, all right, well, what car? Especially since I was already looking at cars. By this time, I had already looked at every single car, every single sports car, because I'm like, hey, I want V8, boy, V8 all-wheel drive, yes. Okay. Apparently, the last time that Dodge made a V8 all-wheel drive was the 2014 Chargers. Didn't really want a Charger. Don't want a four-wheel drive sports car. Four-wheel drive, no, four-door sports car. Sports car, four doors. Yeah. So no Challengers. You can get an all-wheel drive Challenger V6, or you can get a V8. And interestingly enough, both the all-wheel drive system in the Challenger now, as well as the V8 in the Challenger now, were both in the 2014 Charger. So it is possible to put them together, but Dodge just won't do it, even though there is a market for it. Okay, fine. That's what I wanted. I'm not getting it. So I'm like, you know what? I fit in her car perfectly fine. Let me just get that car. And then of course I'm like, okay, well, you know, what's the absolute highest, best trim? The Altima is bigger than the Maxima, even though the Maxima is supposedly a higher tier. Okay. So I was getting an Altima. All right, fine. Well, what's the highest trim, the top level? And it's the V6 SL. All right. And the 2015 is the last one that looks the way it looks, as you saw, that I like. I don't like the way they look now, the current model, current generation. So I went and looked for that. Looked on Carmax, looked everywhere, and actually landed on Carmax last, and I found it. My car now was in Indiana, is it? So I went and bought it all online. Bought it all online. Had it shipped over to the Carmax here in Frederick. Looked at it, looks great, test drove, great, awesome, great. And that was it. The car was already did the whole financing thing and all that. And that's where the review of CarMax itself is coming. And, you know, of course, you could have jumped to it. I had the timestamps. But yeah, so that's how I ended up with this car from having the Mazda. So, yeah, that's that. I suppose now is the actual review of CarMax itself. So let's do it. Okay, so in watching what I have so far in the edit, the Windows Movie Maker edit, it appears that I was already going into the review of CarMax before this part, which is the official review of CarMax, started. So I will just continue on with what I was saying just in the past segment. So as far as CarMax goes, CarMax was actually very nice. I found the car through one of the was it Auto Trader or Cars.com or something like that, and they have a whole bunch of different people, different sources on their sites. And I happened to find the car from there, and then I noticed it was CarMax, and I went to CarMax of actual website and saw more of the car. Again, the car was in Indiana. It looked nice, looked very nice. Everything seemed good, and it's like, oh wow, it's a sunroof and Bose 5 point whatever, or was it 7.1 or whatever it is. The leather seats. That's a very interesting thing about upgrades and not wanting to regress back. I got my taste of leather seats now. I will never go back to non-leather seats. I will. It's leather seats. It is heated leather seats. Heated leather seats. Both front seats are powered front seats. Both heated, as well as a heated steering wheel. And yes, I don't have a steering wheel cover on there. Never going back. Never going back. So next car might end up being a BM. Anyway, so got it from CarMax. Now the interesting thing with CarMax is that I didn't actually go in there to look around and all that stuff. I did all of this online, and that's a very I guess that's the way things are going now, especially as my generation gets older, the millennials gets older. Because the other thing is that I actually work at a car dealership. Okay, I actually work at a car dealership doing IT work. And I have actually done work, done car sales at a different dealership before in the past. So comparing my dealership where I work at, where everything seems so congested and cluttered and busy, like I guess is the nicest word you can put it. To see CarMax, first of all, I did everything online and got everything ordered and all that stuff. I could have had it delivered here and completely skipped the dealership, which is also a nice option. I think a lot of people are doing that now. But then when I actually went into the CarMax facility itself, it was not. It was essentially almost like the Apple Store. And if anybody knows me, knows my thoughts on Apple everything, this is as close to a compliment on Apple as anyone will ever get out of me in my life. But it was as minimal. The inside of the dealership looked minimal. It looked neat. It was neat. It was clean. It was nicely lit. It looked clean and minimal, like the Apple store. Not busy, not a whole bunch of people running all over the place, trying to get that record-breaking sale. It looked very nice, especially for somebody like me who, I mean, you see my room, there's not that much stuff going on here. It's very minimal, like, you know, like, I mean, you can, come on. Right, whoops. See? Alright. Let's not mess this up. So, you know? So that was very, very nice as far as I was concerned. The people that there, I got to talking to the guy that was helping me. We got assigned a guy once I walked in, and I let him know, hey, I have this online order. The car's supposed to be here somewhere, right? So we get to talking about a lot of different stuff, and he let it be known that they work, I believe it's hourly plus commission, so they're not hell-bent like trying to hem you up for this sale, right? I'm sure he was happy that, you know, hey, you wouldn't spend all this money on this car that you apparently liked, you know. You have to pay for shipping, obviously. So chances are you're not going to back out of this. And I didn't. So yes, it was very nice, very inviting. The process was easy. The process was extremely easy. It was just a few clicks on actually a bunch of clicks on a computer. But everything was streamlined, laid out. I could not get gap insurance, which is something I advise everybody to get if they get a car, if they have the ability to. I didn't get gap insurance. I couldn't. It wasn't offered, even though I wanted it. So instead, I got the insurance, the extended insurance, what is it called? Do I have it on my phone here? One moment. Max Care. I don't even need to. Max Care. I got the Max Care, and from what I heard, it was one of the better ones. They don't really mess around when it comes to claims and stuff. So that was good. So that was that. And then as far as the bill itself, I'm obviously not going to show it to you because y'all don't need to know my purchases and price and all that stuff. But no hidden anything. Everything was spelt out. And you could easily sit there and follow along with it. Like, okay, that makes sense. You're not getting exact numbers in your head, but like, all right, yeah, that sounds about right. Taxes here, this here, whatever little minimal kind of prep like charges. Not I don't want to say prep charges because I've heard of prep charges before and it's BS. It's just something to pad in. Like when I was doing sales, some of the other guys would add a prep charge because they knew you were going to try to negotiate. So, yeah. But you know, just everything was easy to follow along with. And then, of course, you could have gotten everything in a PDF. There wasn't a whole bunch of different papers, signing. I mean, you did have to do a bunch of signing, but it was all click, going down, not this, then, oh, sign here, and then, oh, we have this form over here. Yeah, go ahead and sign this too, the mandatory. Nope, it was all right there on the computer. It was very, very nice. Yeah, so overall, my experience with Carmax was very nice. If I ever need a car again, I don't see myself going anywhere else. I mean, okay, sorry, Carvana, this is Carmax. Carmax got to me first. You know, all those other ones that are similar, okay, fine, but Carmax got to me first. Probably not going anywhere else. You probably never catch me going into a traditional dealership to buy a car. If I'm going in there to work, as like I do in IT or something, fine. But to buy a car, it's probably going to be these more new breed, new age, new line of car dealers where it's the way Carmax is, because I did not feel hassled at all. And I could have walked away from that car. I could have done something else. I did not feel hassled at all. And that was very nice. Very nice. Now, the other part of this, which adds to CarMax's niceness and I guess value, or okay, is that it's in the car. I have a Blue Driver car scanner. I advise everyone to get that, not just people who are DIY in the car repairs, right? And I scanned that car and come to find that there was a bunch of codes in that car. And I printed them out and I took them to CarMax. They apparently have a 30-day, however the hell many miles, I guess, see if you like it, right? But then they have a 3-month, 90 days or 5,000 miles, 30 days, 100 miles, I think it is. I guess it's test drive or something like that, right? But 3 months, 90 days, 5,000 miles, warranty, where they fix absolutely anything. And I took advantage of that. So I got this scanner and I got a whole bunch of codes. In fact, I may or may not edit that in, because I think I had originally wanted to edit that in, but I've done a lot of edits in this video and taken some stuff in, put some stuff out. But I had the printouts from the Blue Driver, had a bunch of codes, showed it to them. After I had cleared it and some came back, and they went and looked at it, they went and said, hey, okay, everything is fine. Nothing to worry about with these codes. These are just history codes. And the reason for that was because there's a recall on the car that I took to the dealership, the Nissan dealership that was right nearby. And they looked into that and like, okay, well, the fix is coming from Nissan in the fall, which I actually need to get done on my car and my girl's car. And then they looked over some other stuff and was like, oh, okay, yeah, this belt here, the drive belt, which I fixed myself. It was easy. The battery terminals, which I again did myself. And then I had them look at those codes. They're like, yeah, you could probably take it back to them, but we can diagnose it and this and that. And they just told me what I already knew. So took it back to CarMax and they fixed that. They also fixed the shifter. Apparently the gear selector, the shifter sticks sometimes, and they fixed that as well. They also did they did that before I bought it, the 2 back tires to pass state inspection. But the point is that they actually fix a lot of stuff, because a lot of dealerships, including the one that I used to work at, like after, I don't know, a week or so, and I don't know, 1,500 or even less miles, hey, that's it, right? So it was quite nice to see that they were willing to foot the bill on this stuff, and it was quite nice. And there was like a TSB or something, a bulletin on that shifter thing, so it wasn't just with me. So that was nice. That was very nice. So between that and now, and I mean, the car is running just fine. Yeah, those codes are there, but yeah, they're I guess they are history codes, because the car is not giving any problems. They did a full diagnostic of the car and everything came back fine. So yeah, it was overall a very nice experience. Very, very nice experience with CarMax. I considering how some of the times I've heard customers in both the sales as well as the service department come in raising hell, cursing and screaming and all that stuff, I didn't once hear that at CarMax. Although I'm not there the whole time. But point is, it was a very nice experience. and I would recommend it to anyone going to Carmax as opposed to anywhere else. So yeah, that's it. Very happy with my car purchase. I again plan on keeping this car for a while, until it just finally gives out on me, or until something else decides to happen, up to and including winning the lottery. So yeah, that's it. Very happy with the car. Very happy with CarMax. I would highly recommend CarMax to anyone who is thinking of getting a car over the traditional car dealerships. Right. So me being who I am, I took the blue driver that I have and I ran some scans. Well, the full, absolute full scan. And this is what came back on the car from the first scan, right? You see the date taken, first scan, mileage, and this is what came back. These codes here, and this last one, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I do have 30 days and 14 or 1500 miles, so we'll see. I cleared the codes, actually. I cleared the codes. So this is the second scan. Huh? And then the third scan, you see the date of that as well. If this thing would focus. There we go. Third scan, the mileage, and this is the only code that came back. Now, again, this first code here is probably due to the flat tire. They told me that they had to replace an engine mount and one of the engine mounts or transmission. I think it was an engine mount, and the two tires because they had nails in them. Okay, so maybe they just didn't clear the code. So that's fine. Came back, and there's this one. So I went and took it to the Nissan dealership, the actual dealership, right? And had them run a test. This thing failed here, which is the battery terminals. I knew about that. I saw the hood open, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to need to clean that. So that's where that comes in. I'll be doing that myself. Also, the belts. Now, this thing says belt alternator replace, but they told me it was the belt that needs replacing, not they didn't say anything about the alternator. So I don't know if this is just something that, oh, it's recommended to replace them both, but I'm going to assume the alternator's fine. Either way, I can do those myself as well. So there's that. Now, the interesting thing about this is they're recommending, because that's why I came in here in the first place, to, where is it? Come on. As you see here. Oh, wait, no. This is different. Where is right here. See? And of course there's a recall that has no fix. They told me that there's going to be a fix sometime in the fall. The transmission fluid is full and clean by what the tech said in the tech notes. This is the tech notes. But yet they're recommending this, and what the guy told me that I was dealing with, the service advisor, is that it's a bit dirty, doesn't look like it's been changed. But yet, and I saw this and I'm just like, and I didn't call him out on it. I didn't make a note of it. Just like, wait a minute, it says clean here, so how come you're recommending? I didn't say anything, but I'm just like, okay. But yeah, that's it. I like to do this. I like to let them know, hey, I have been doing my research. I have been doing my own checks and stuff, so it's not just me coming in here blind. And I recommend all people do this with any car you have, anybody you're going to. With all of what's here on YouTube, there's no reason why you shouldn't go in there with some sort of knowledge of something, right? Get yourself a car scanner. I happen to have the Blue Driver car scanner and fully updated, obviously, firmware and all that stuff. Get whatever you want to get, but get a good quality scanner, which is probably not going to be below $100, right? And yeah, have a working knowledge of certain things. You know, it's like obviously you're not going to be some ASE certified master mechanic, but they can't come telling me any BS now, because it's like, no, this thing isn't just a fluke. It didn't just need to be cleared. I cleared it and it came back, so there's a problem. Here's the dealership saying yes, there is a problem. So there's that. I don't like doing debates. I don't like arguing. I don't like getting loud and all that. I like having this. Why? Because nothing that's said and no amount of BS or sleight of hand or smoke and mirrors is going to make this go away. Right? I like having absolute proof. Not evidence that's subject to interpretation, absolute proof that's not subject to interpretation. This is what it is. And this is what I like to do in all kinds of things, in everything in my life. So, there's that. I recommend one and all do this. Will I be doing this transmission flush? Nah. Nah. I don't know. Because it does say right here that it's full and clean. So, I don't know. I might hold off on that. But, yeah. So, that's that.